What's going on, everyone? It's Greeny here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, guys, I've got a banger for you. It is your last chance to make life-changing gains in the next year, and I'm going to show you why. If you like my content, guys, subscribe down below. YouTube tells me that only 17% of you do subscribe to my channel, so smash that subscribe button to help me grow my educational content. Don't forget to like the video as well, guys, and don't forget to check out my private trading group where we consistently lock in meme coin trades, altcoin trades, futures trades. We trade DeFi. We have other channels that are dedicated to education, so check that out using the wop.com link in the description below. Here's the video. In this video, guys, I'm going to show you a detailed analysis covering a range of different reasons why this is your last chance to make crazy crypto gains in the next year. Now, I'm going to do short-term analysis, okay, on some indicators that are essentially flashing green for risk on in the coming months. And then obviously I'm going to give you some different techniques that I'm using over the coming sort of year to make some life-changing profits for myself. Now, obviously we're starting here with the hash ribbons indicator. All the blue lines here essentially are when this indicator flashes. All you need to know, guys, which I have covered in previous videos, is that these indicators are essentially close to macro bottoms. So we see many times in the history, so the blue ones here, I'll show you when these signals occurred, and they often occur really close to macro bottoms before price does move up, okay, in the long or short term. So the two orange lines here, I just wanted to essentially throw in the halving dates as well. Now, obviously, we've seen the halving occur about 4 months ago now, 3 to 4 months ago, and we're fast approaching another buy signal here on the hash ribbons indicator. Last cycle, we saw the halving here and a hash ribbons indicator straight away, and then we actually saw 2 more hash ribbon indicators flash before we saw that ultimate run, that double top all the way to $70,000 last cycle of over a 3.5x. So what I'm saying here, guys, is that this indicator doesn't flash very often, and it often flashes near macro bottom levels. So it's about to flash in the coming weeks. So definitely keep an eye on that. The next one, guys, we are seeing an inflow of money head into the Bitcoin ETF. Now, obviously, we're seeing on the timeline that the Ethereum ETF is likely to begin trading in the coming weeks. Now, that also brings liquidity, new eyes, because Ethereum is a different sort of asset compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin being a more store of wealth, okay, a digital gold, let's call it, whereas Ethereum is seen to traditional investors as more of a technology. Now, those two combined should bring a lot more eyes to not only crypto in general, but eyes to the ETFs, which allows inflows to come in, which amounts to people accumulating these two assets. Now, also recently, we've seen 2 to 3 companies, hedge funds, come in and file for a Solana ETF. That is why Solana remains my #1 pick this cycle, and stay tuned for the rest of my picks this cycle, guys, towards the end of the video. As we've seen recently, guys, we've seen an inflow of over $450 million over the past couple of days into the Bitcoin ETF. Now, that's amazing considering that Germany has sold millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. Very, very cool that a lot of hedge funds and a lot of companies are starting to get into Bitcoin when its evaluation is in the $50,000 range. The next one, guys. Now, obviously, the Fed highlights that slowing job market in signal means that rate cuts may be nearing. Now, obviously, traditionally, rate cuts maybe mean a bit of short-term volatility, but ultimately it brings risk assets into the forefront. The reason being that people have less money to worry about in life situations, so paying mortgages, paying rent, paying for food, paying for bills, all those sorts of things, and instead they have more money to invest in stocks or in cryptocurrency, those types of things. So really interestingly, aligning with that is a stock market all-time high. Now, risk on assets are aligned, and what we've seen over the past sort of years is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is kind of hedged towards the stock market. Of recent times, though, we've seen that the stock market, the Nasdaq in particular, and the technology companies I'm speaking about in the video, for example, are pushing all-time highs, even though crypto hasn't pushed an all-time high. That leaves a bit of a discrepancy, guys, as liquidity enters the system, as risk on becomes more favorable towards the end of 2024 and into 2025 when people have more money in their pockets. Now, also, I recently read a tweet today that the money printer has been turned back on in the US, which essentially means that more people are likely to receive some more money to help them maybe invest, or essentially the living crisis that we're seeing at the moment. Now, what makes me really bullish, guys, is obviously I'm a big Bitcoin bull, but what I love to see is altcoins outperforming. And that's why my portfolio is predominantly made up of Solana and other altcoins, which I'll show you very soon. But one really interesting thing is this Bitcoin dominance here on the chart. We saw a local top on around the halving day, which is very interesting because it aligns with essentially last cycle's support levels. We got rejected from there, and we're currently at the crux of a potential breakdown or a break up. Now, this is substantial, guys, because it ultimately means that if we break up, we continue in a Bitcoin season. So Bitcoin likely outperforms a lot of assets, but obviously if it does break down, it means that we have an altcoin season, and they are super lucrative because these altcoins often outpace Bitcoin and other assets in the ecosystem. One to definitely watch. Now, the next bullish point that I have, guys, is obviously this one here. We have total 3 altcoins. We are pushing back into the range, okay? So that means that I'm starting to see some of these altcoins bounce a lot harder than Bitcoin itself. Ultimately, though, total crypto market cap has rebounded back into this range here, marked by my yellow box. So that is a support and resistance zone. If we can close this weekly here, guys, we might be able to push our way back up into this consolidation range, which is actually very bullish for the longer term. Now, what I also want to show you on a short-term analysis is some divergences that are playing out. So essentially, a divergence is where price and RSI being a lagging indicator, show you when price often reverses in a particular direction. So what we're looking at here is, okay, price coming down, okay, and essentially price is forming lower lows, okay, so lower low there, lower low there. However, RSI is forming higher lows, and that often shows us a reversal before it actually happens. So this is obviously on the day chart, and what we're starting to see is not only is Bitcoin, but other assets such as Solana are starting to put in several drives of bullish divergence. As you can see here, 2 on Solana itself. So whilst I still am a Bitcoin bull, I have a lot of Bitcoin, I want to make more money, and that's why I'm in more risk on assets, which I'll get to very shortly. Now, obviously, those assets come in a range of different forms, but what I want to show you lastly before we dive into my portfolio and what I'm actually looking at for the best returns in the next year is this indicator here. Now, you see me talk about this on the timeline all the time, and essentially it's the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, and essentially what I like to do, my mantra that has worked successfully for me over 8 years in cryptocurrency is buying fear and selling euphoria or selling greed. Now, it often is easy to buy fear because you're buying the red, you're buying the dip, but the biggest problem that I see crypto traders make is not selling euphoria. Let this be a reminder for you and for me to make sure the next time we get up into these levels in extreme greed that we do take some profit off the table to essentially change our life. So as you can see here, guys, we have dipped into the fearful range, which ultimately is a buy indicator for me. So I have been DCAing into some of these top plays, which I'll show you very shortly. But the last time we obviously saw this was in the bear market. So again, it screams opportunity, guys, because we are in a bull market. And we've just discussed so many rich, powerful points that push cryptocurrency into higher levels in the next year. All right, so essentially, what I wanted to do is give you a take on my current portfolio, and then lastly, how I'm actually going to flip my way up to a lot more money than just holding these assets. Now, ultimately, you know me, I'm a leverage trader, I'm a futures trader, and I like to successfully trade meme coins as well. I've got a lot of sniping tutorials, I've got a lot of trading tutorials. Now, if you're rich with time, so in other words, you have time to sit in front of the charts, that sort of strategy will work well. And the strategies that I'm talking about are these 3 here. Snipe safe tokens at launch if I have the time, swing trade higher cap meme coins repeatedly, and less time go bigger on less trades. So these 3 are my main meme coin strategies over the next year, let's call it, okay? And I'll use a combination of these to essentially really take my portfolio from maybe a 3 to 5x gain to potentially a 10 to 20x overall. Whilst I do that, guys, I'm obviously actively trading on futures, trading longs, trading shorts, depending on what the market presents us. But what I always do is rotate those profits into my stable assets and my stable portfolio. Now, ultimately, guys, the 2 main assets that I rotate into is obviously Solana and Bitcoin. Those two remain my ultimate plays for this cycle and maybe pushing into further cycles as well, particularly as Solana has an ETF that seems extremely imminent in the next year as well. Ethereum remains a portion of my allocation because you can't fade Ethereum, guys. It was the narrative of last cycle. It as a technology is far advanced compared to a lot of other chains out there. So you definitely want to have those three as your top holdings. And they honestly make up at least 80% of my whole entire portfolio on spot. Now, obviously we have a few other picks down below that I'm going to specify right now. So you want to have emerging technology, guys. You want to have technology that is proving itself compared to other chains or to other markets out there. TON remains probably the most obvious choice right now to be trading on. Okay, we made a really nice long on Notcoin, which is the top meme coin on TON recently, and that's why those two are on my list. Secondly, guys, I cannot fade AVAX, even though it has a lot of FUD on the timeline. We saw a massive whale sale a lot of their bag, or if not all of their bag. It remains the most obvious pick for gaming and for the dev side of crypto technology. If you dive deeper on chain, you get off crypto Twitter, you'll find that AVAX is a suitable hold for the next year. Next, we have AI, okay? So you want to have exposure to AI. Near is the obvious choice as the most leading layer 1, but also AI protocol that is embedded within its technology. So Near remains my top pick for the AI sector. Now, obviously, I have a few other picks down below. So Renders, again, falls into the gaming narrative. It falls into the AI sector as well. So that is an obvious play for me. Immutable X is also a gaming one. If we come down a little bit further, we have Jupiter as one of my top picks on Solana. Okay, the Solana ecosystem continues to outperform compared to other ecosystems. So you want exposure to the best plays on there. Jupiter being the prominent DEX, also has an airdrop coming next year as well. Don't fade Jupiter. Akash is another AI play that I've spoken about in previous videos as well. Beam remains a prominent play also in AVAX ecosystem around gaming as well, because gaming is that niche that could definitely bring a range of liquidity and users and players and also people to cryptocurrency. So I have exposure to Beam and have for a long time. And lastly, guys, within the Solana ecosystem is Radium. If you dive on chain, okay, you will see the amount of liquidity that is embedded into Radium every single day. Do not fade that, and it probably is one of the most underrated altcoins out there this cycle. Now, lastly, obviously, guys, is the meme coin space. I'm a prominent meme coin trader. I've made lots of money trading meme coins, and I create a lot of educational content for you guys on trading and sniping meme coins. But these are my most how can I say this? My most bullish meme coins for the next year or so. So Mog being my most bullish meme coin play. I definitely see it's at 550 million. This pushes towards 1 to 2 billion, if not 5 billion in time, guys, in my honest opinion. I obviously have Brett exposure as well, being the most prominent token on Base, and obviously want to have exposure to Base because it is the leading platform behind Coinbase as a layer 2. So that's one that I have there. You want to have exposure to the top meme coin on TON, guys. So I have exposure to NOT. And obviously I have the largest exposure on BONK. WIF has obviously had a lot of FUD recently, so I'm actually swing trading Billy, Epic, and a few other meme coins at the moment. Giga is another one actually that I'm swing trading, but BONK is my stable coin that I've been holding as a meme on Solana for a very long time. And then lastly, guys, you can't fade PEPE. PEPE is essentially the Doge of last cycle, and I definitely think PEPE pushes towards that sort of $20 billion range, which is still easily about a 4 to 5x from current price action. So ultimately, guys, that is my whole portfolio currently. I've restricted it right down to essentially how many is here, about 15 tokens, to keep it nice and clear with what narratives I think are going to outperform in the next year. Comment down below what is in your portfolio and let's compare them. So there you have it, guys. It's your last chance to make life-changing gains in the next year in cryptocurrency. If you like my content, guys, please subscribe down below, smash that button. Let's get that percentage up to 25% rather than 17% of you subscribing to this channel. Don't forget to like the video as well, guys, because it does go a long way and it helps me grow to get this education out to more people. As always, guys, also check out my trading group in the description below using the wop.com link. I do actually have a discount sale at the moment. You can use this code as it shows here on the screen to sign up and get a 25% discount on either the lifetime option or the monthly subscription. As always, guys, take care and I'll see you in the next one.